Since Halloween is getting close, I decided to pick a movie that came out almost a year ago, and that is Ghostbusters Afterlife. As you know, or don't know, that Ghostbusters from 1984 is one of my favorite movies and my favorite comedy movie. It had a sequel and a 2016 reboot, which I have not seen, and while I'm saving it in the future for the original film, I think Afterlife is the one I wanted to do the most. So, let's begin with the story. A daughter of Egon's, named Callie, inherits the farm where his father worked and moves in with her children. During the summer, her son Trevor works at a restaurant, becomes infatuated with car hop named Lucky, and her daughter Phoebe, who is a scientifically minded, enrolls in a summer class for science. Phoebe discovers the farmhouse is haunted, and the poltergeist residing in it leads her to the ghost trap. This is when she learns more about her grandfather because he worked with Ghostbusters. They test Proton Pack, drive an Ecto-1, and even discover a Gozerian temple. Then the mother and Phoebe's teacher get possessed, and it's up to them to stop Gozer. So when this movie got announced after the 2016 reboot, I wasn't super hyped for a new Ghostbusters movie since Harold Ramis passed away back in 2014. I went, okay, let's see how are they gonna pull it off. Then 3 years later, the trailer dropped, and so far it looks fine. I'm sure it'll be good. And after watching it this year, it was actually pretty good. Yeah, this movie got mixed receptions when it came out by critics, but for me, I thought it was a great comeback to Ghostbusters. However, the movie is not perfect. There are problems, but we'll get to that. The biggest thing about the movie that it does retcon a bit in the second movie, as Ray mentioned what happened after. So the story explains how the men split up during that time. So far, the story is good in terms of a smaller story. The characters in the movie are okay at best. You got the mother, which I've heard some people say the mother character is not good, but I thought she was okay, until she possessed. Paul Rudd plays Phoebe's science teacher, did pretty good in the role. I don't think he was great, unlike his role as Scott Lang in the Ant-Man films. Finn Wolfhard is in this, and he did okay as the brother. He didn't have a big role in the first third of the movie, but he does appear more in the last 2/3. Still, Trevor's character is okay, nowhere near as great as his role as Mike from Stranger Things. Same with Lucky, a girlfriend of Trevor's. Then there's Podcast, which the character is written differently, meaning that he's not written the same comedy as everyone else, but the kid who played him did fine. I can understand the name because he does podcasts, which, yeah, you do have to roll your eyes at that. I'm sure they'll explain his original name soon. But the best character in the movie, to no surprise, is Phoebe. She is phenomenal, playing a scientific smart, just like her grandfather. McKenna Grace got the role to play Phoebe, and I would love to see her to do more. So now, let's get to the other highlights. The comedy is pretty funny. While I can't say it's laugh out loud hilarious like the first movie was, it's still got the humor. The build up that leads towards the climax is pretty good. It was nice to see Gozer and the two dogs back again. Speaking of that, let's get to the callbacks. I know the critics criticized the movie for relying on too much fan service, and to an extent, yeah, but it's a good way to rely on it. Best callback in the movie is when Phoebe goes into the secret laboratory and sees the Ghostbusters clothing, and inside her grandfather's is actually a Crunch Bar. If you watch the first movie, it totally resembles that scene where Peter gives Egon a Crunch Bar and says, "You earned it." Such a touchy moment like that. I will say, the emotions have gotten weight in the movie. The special effects are pretty good. I will say it won't top the special effects in the first movie. During the climax, they brought back the Ghostbusters, which we all knew that was going to appear. But then Egon Spengler as a ghost appears. That was totally out of nowhere, and a great way to use the effects on Harold Ramis as a ghost. So now, with that good stuff out of the way, let's get to the not so good ones. And there's only two. The music, which I can't say it's bad, but it's too temp track.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is that they use the Ghostbusters soundtrack in the movie and they repeat the same. And don't get me wrong, I love the original scores of Ghostbusters. It's one of my favorite movie scores. But if this movie is trying to be like that, make a good original score and not temp track the whole thing. Thankfully, towards the climax, the music gets really good with orchestrated originals. And the other one is the end credits. The question's, how are they going to do it with the business? Are they going to set it up? I don't know, but I am curious to see. And this is good news because the movie is getting a sequel, and I am excited to see. Though 3 months after the movie was released, Ivan Reitman, who directed the original and produced this movie, passed away early this year, and this was his final film project. Thankfully, his son Jason Reitman directed the movie. So yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife was a pretty good movie. I can't wait for the sequel until it comes out, and then I'll do that review. But soon in the future, I will do more Ghostbusters movie videos. That is all for the review. I'll see you guys for another movie review video.